Welcome back, my soldiers and my soldierettes. Today, I want to talk to you about something personal. It's something a lot of us have felt, but maybe never really said out loud because honestly, it stings. This is for anyone who's ever felt cast aside by so called church folk. Anyone who has walked into a place that should feel like home and instead it felt like a stranger's den. If you've been through that, then let me tell you, you are not alone. And baby, this message is for you. See, there's this thing that happens sometimes when people feel like they've arrived spiritually. You know, like they've put in the work. They've dressed the part. And now they're clean enough to look down on others who haven't had that same journey. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people in the church are incredibly welcoming, warm, and understanding. But ever so often, baby, you'll encounter those who look at you with a stinky face, as if something in the room smells. Maybe you came into the church with some baggage. Hey, who hasn't? Life is a hard road. Some of us will stumble into the church doors carrying things we've been dragging around for years. It could be a messy past, an addiction, maybe even a reputation. Whatever it is, we show up hoping that this is the one place we can let it all out and not be judged for it. And for some reason, there's always someone ready to remind you of just how far you have to go, rather than celebrating the fact that you're there trying to reach something better. And here's the kicker, and I hope this truth sticks with you today. God didn't say, get yourself together and then come to me. No, no, no. The Most High says, come as you are. Let me repeat that. He says, come as you are. There are no prerequisites, no conditions. He never said, once you're spotless and clean, then I'll accept you. You don't have to bypass all the struggles and mess to get to Him. So, avoid the human gatekeepers. Who hired them anyway? God never posted a job application for it. They need to sit down somewhere and chill. I digress. Now, back to you. You see, whether you come in wearing your Sunday's best or your Saturday night, oops, I just slayed outfit, He simply asks for you to show up as you are. Honestly, I think that's the most beautiful part of this whole thing. Think about it. The creator of the universe, the one who set the stars in the sky, who knows every detail of your life, isn't asking you to come polished and perfect. In fact, He's calling you because He knows where you are. He's calling you because He knows there's more for you. And He's ready to walk alongside you every step of the way. You don't need to follow some unwritten dress code, and you don't need to fit some mold someone else made up. God knows your heart. And if you anything like me, maybe your heart has been through some rough seasons. Maybe it's cracked. Maybe it's wounded. And maybe it's carrying regrets. But You know what? Those very cracks are where his light shines through the brightest. Those places that feel weak, they're where his strength shows up. It's in our brokenness. I'm going to repeat that. It's in our brokenness that we find out just how close he really is. I'll admit, though, it's not always easy to let go of the anger and frustration that comes with being judged by people who are supposed to represent love, mercy, and grace. I mean, it can get under your skin, right? Sometimes we hold on to that bitterness because it feels justified. They hurt you, so why shouldn't you keep that hurt on display? But here's a truth that's also a little bit of a gut check. At least it was for me. Forgiveness isn't about excusing someone's behavior. It's about freeing yourself from it. Forgiving those who look down on you doesn't mean what they did was okay, but it does mean that you're choosing to rise above it. That's key. So if you've ever been made to feel like you didn't belong, like you were too messed up to sit down in a pew or take a seat at the table, remember that you're already invited, not by people, not by the church leaders, but by God Himself. And He sees right through all the mess and the baggage. He sees the real you, the one He created, not man, He created, the one He loves deeply, fully, and without any conditions. Maybe some of you are thinking, that's all well and good, but it's not like God's going to come down here and have coffee with me. Well, here's the funny thing. God's been meeting us exactly where we are since the beginning. The stories of faith are full of people who were considered unworthy, messed up, or outcasts. Yeshua didn't hang out with the elites and the perfect. He spent his time with the people who were told they were less than. You hear me? Did you hear me? Those were his people. So if you're feeling out of place, well, that's exactly the kind of place he's made. He made his home. Now, I know it's easier said than done again, but maybe it's time to change the way we approach faith. Maybe it's time to stop looking around for validation from people who are just as flawed as we are. They just messed up. They don't hold the key to your worth. Let me repeat that. They don't hold the key to your worth. Let's not let others' arrogance or pride stand between us and the one who's been waiting with open arms this entire time. So, laugh off the judgments, shake off the weird looks, and step right into the presence of the one who has always been waiting. In fact, let's get a little real here. If you need to wear sneakers, jeans, or even that mismatched pair of socks, God's not going to turn you away. Your life story doesn't disqualify you. It's just part of what makes you, you. The beauty of the Most High is that He's not just interested in your shiny, presentable moments. He's there in the mess. And if that's where you are right now, let me tell you, it's the perfect place to start. Because the Creator didn't make a mistake when He made you. I'm going to repeat that for somebody out there. The Creator didn't make a mistake when He made you. He didn't accidentally put you in the wrong place with the wrong background, with the wrong scars. Every part of you is seen and known. So here's my final thought, and I hope you take it to heart. If you've been cast aside, judged, or misunderstood by people, don't let that make you believe you're out of reach. You're right within his grasp. And every single part of you, from your struggles to your strengths, matters deeply to him. And hey, for the record, sometimes bypassing the creation is necessary. Sometimes you just have to go straight to the Creator himself. The people around you don't always know your whole story, but God, he knows every page, every word. So walk in that truth and keep your head high, because you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You heard? Now, thanks for being here with me today. And I hope this message reminds you of the grace that's available to you right now with no strings attached. You heard, baby? I'm out. Blessings.